Hell yeah. All right, let's do this. You ready to rock?
Ready when you are.
All right, cool. On today's episode of the CLS Experience, we have a very special treat. He's an American Ninja warrior and former world-class NFL athlete turned transformational coach. He's a serial entrepreneur with one very serious superpower, making shift happen by accessing the power of identity. He's a keynote speaker, best-selling author, and host of the phenomenal show, Or Shift. His mindset is absolutely bulletproof. He's just an overall juggernaut in all facets of life and a terrific human being. Please welcome the sensational Anthony Trucks. How you doing?
Hey, yo. I'm good, man. I got to bring you around whenever you get like the fire. I feel it. I feel it in my gut. I feel it all in my bones.
I did good by you?
Yeah, man. I appreciate it. Sounds good.
Hell yeah. Good. And like I was saying before we went on air, I know you and I both do a lot of these. It's your fourth time telling your story today, but you and I are going to keep this different, fresh, and you have my word right now. We'll absolutely manufacture magic together here today.
Let's do it, dog. I'm all for it, man.
The audience loves to get a bit of the journey and kind of dig deep, but we're going to start off. Before that, we're going to get a little weird. You ready for me?
Let's go weird, homie. Let's do it.
Anthony, what is your superpower?
My superpower? Oh, like a real life one? You know what? I'm adaptable. That's my real life. I mean, I got a superpower that has to do with like a making shift happen, right? But really it's based on adapting. I'm really good. And it wasn't because I wanted to, just by the way, this was like survival skill early on in life, but like I'm really good at navigating situations without freaking out and making the most of them in a positive way. And I do it with joy, man. So it works my marriage, it works my business, it works with my clients. But man, adaptability is the weirdest strength I have. I enjoy difficulty. And so it's like palpable. I can taste like how, I get to have a new problem to solve. It's very odd, but that's my superpower, man. I lean into stuff and I find ways to adapt faster and more successful than most people.
That's really special. And I love that you said that because I think most people probably do the opposite. They probably lean out of unpredictability and so forth, but you take pride in that challenge. It's great.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it's a place to have fun, man. Because you find out more of who you are. In fact, there's a guy, I think like Jordan Stevenson or Peterson, like this, he did a podcast with Joe Rogan. It was beautiful. And he talks about, he's not a scientist, he was recovering or uncovering this, but he says at the end of the day, whenever you're met with difficulty, there's actually like proteins released in the brain that in fact start to code like your genes a little bit more. So the difficulty is necessary to release these proteins that actually help release more of your genetic code. So in fact, difficulty releases more of who you are. So you need to like actually get to the point of giving yourself stress and problems at a physical level, actually at a neurological level. When you do so, you find out more about yourself and it's all tucked away in there, man. So I like it. I found that out recently, but I'm like, that does make sense. Like I enjoy the weird stuff that happens because it's like, man, I get to see what I got and can I take it on?
Bang! Anthony, with 2 minutes in, he's already dropping wisdom and nuggets and gems. I didn't know that, but that makes perfect sense the way you articulate it.
Yeah, it's simple, man. I didn't know it. I just learned it myself. I was like, oh, that makes sense. Because like my kids, I got 11-year-olds. And the puzzles, they get puzzles out and they get frustrated and they throw them. And I love not knowing how to do it because when you do, you're like, oh damn, look at that, I'm cool. Like I could do even more, and it gives me a sense of like confidence moving forward in life because I take on a lot of weird stuff. I do weird TV shows. I've done Ninja Warrior, but all that stuff, people are like, bro, how do you do it? And I'm like, well, because at the end of the day, like I want to step in and try this thing because if I can figure out how to solve it, I know that I can do more in the future. Like I'll go into things that don't make sense because in the past I've accomplished something. And when I accomplished it, I realized I got this skill set. So it's inevitable. We will face problems, but I got this confidence that I bring me to the problem. So we're good to go, man. And then every time I enter something, I learn something new and it builds and builds and builds.
That's it. Now you look forward to it.
I look forward to it, man.
It's all about conditioning.
Anthony,
yeah, describe yourself in 3 words.
3 words. Integrous, joyous, what would be a third one? Because they have to be work ethic. Is that 2 words? How would you put work ethic into one? Worker. I'm a worker. I'm integrous. I have a weird level of integrity is a big piece for me. I have an area of work. I find joy because I live in a really good space of joy. I got a switch. I used to play professional sports. That switch can come if it needs to. Rarely ever does it. But I have joy. But I'm also a worker, dude. Like I think humans, we find joy in motion. I think there's people that sits down, I want to be happy. And like, think about it, like before coming on this show, I was like, I'm at my house, I'm happy. I am happier now in the motion of hanging out with you and doing what I do than I was before. There is joy in the motion of doing what you do. So I'm a worker, not just because hard work is like, oh, it gets you something, but I enjoy being in the motion of work.
Likewise. And also, you and I both are living inside our vision right now. Like, we're waking up every single day, helping people and spreading the message and light and so forth. So it's a
Yeah.
lot easier to be grateful when you're actually doing something you love, right?
Yeah, every day, man. If you do it right, you get to be in present gratitude for all the things too. Because it's like I could be in way worse situations right now in my life. So I'm like, all right, the fact that I'm here, like, we're good. Enjoy it.
I love it. That's it. What's something very interesting about you that a lot of people might not know?
Oh man, I've got this question 3 times in the last like week and a half, and I don't even know 100% how to answer it. There's weird quirks about my life. Here's an interesting one. My dad is only 12 years older than me. It's a weird dynamic. I'm adopted, so it's a part of it, but that's like a one weird thing. What else is a weird? I am deathly afraid of somebody pouring honey all over my face. I don't know what it is.
Why, honey?
Because this is going to be even more weird. Listen to this. I think that the thought that like, if you put water on me, I can swallow water. But like, if it's honey, I would suffocate. It's like it's a weird level. I don't know. I can't even explain where it came from. And then I was watching this new movie on Paramount Plus called Infinite. And it was the first time in my entire life I've seen somebody be tortured by pouring honey on their face. And like, I had to leave the room. I was like, oh, it's really unsettling, gave me anxiety. That's a weird thing, man. I don't know what it is. I have no idea. No idea where it comes from. It's the thought of somebody pouring honey on my face and me not be able to breathe scares the crap out of me, man.
Understood. Noted. I'm excited to ask you this one because you've had so many different parts of your journey, so many successful parts and so forth. So I'm excited to see your answer to this one. What makes you right now feel most alive, Anthony?
Most alive. I am in season of dad. It's the best way I can explain. I got a 16-year-old son who is going to college next year. I have 11-year-old twins who are, they're doing their sports. Every one of the people in my family is an athlete. My wife still runs masters track. She's more shredded than I am. It's crazy.
More shredded than you? I don't buy it.
She got veins. It's seriously.
Look at you. Look at those guns.
No, dude, she's a beast. I love it though. Cause we work out, like she'll work out at the same time as me, not the same workout, but dude, she gets down. But I am presently in this space where knowing what the world has in front of me, like I can do a lot, I can create a lot, I can speak and I can do, but what makes me feel amazingly alive is the fact that I wake up and like my kids are in my home. My kids are happy and healthy. I get to go watch their sports. I'm gonna go up this weekend. Tomorrow we're driving to Eugene, Oregon, where my alma mater is, to have my son running the national track meet for high school. And like, dude, that stuff like lights me up. Like I've done my cool stuff. I've done the football thing. I've done my speeches, and it'll be more of the same that I love to do for years. But like, there's nothing like the moments I get to share and watch my kids that live their life. Like that for me is, bro, that lights me up every day. Kid you not, like that is the joy that bubbles inside. Is like, I'm excited to shut down the computer, turn the planner off, no phone calls, and just be with my kids and my wife and roll around.
And be present. And I love that you get even more joy watching them perform at this point in your life and so forth. I felt that myself. Good for you, brother.
Thank you.
What is your definition of success?
Control for sure. I've been asked that question, and I took a lot of time to think through that one years ago, because I think there's a thought of like freedom, and freedom is an interesting thing. Okay? I don't know. Freedom isn't free first off, so it's work. At the same time, freedom is something where I could be free to choose, right? But I can choose a crappy job. I'm free to change jobs, but I don't really have control over a lot outside of that. So I like free control more, because at the end of the day, if I can get up and I can control my life. So to an extent, like I can't be fired, right? Because I have a job, we'll call it, that I'm in control of. My wife, she's like, hey, my mother-in-law bought tickets to go to Great America's amusement park next Thursday. Can you go? Looked at my calendar and I had 2 things on there, but I was like, yeah, I can go because I can control my life. My son gets in this track meet. He wants to go run this track meet in Eugene, Oregon. I have control of my life. Hey, I got to move some things around, but it gives me a sense of control within my freedom to experience life. Because I think the problem is a lot of people don't have control. We have freedom, and with a lack of control, man, it sucks because you're at the whim, like a leaf in the wind. So success for me is, do I have control? Some will say money, some will say time, and all that stuff's great, but you can have money and no time. You can have time and no money, right? But if I have control, I can control the things that allow me to have more money, have more time, and vice versa.
Let me just take a second to say you're on absolute fire and you can't be stopped.
Thank you.
I've had some unbelievable conversations, especially since I started my brand CLS in the pandemic. And, the question comes often, what's your definition of success? I've never heard that answer before. And the way you said it, spoke it, and believe it, and I love it. And it's food for thought. It's something for me to think about as well. I appreciate that answer.
Yeah, man, you're welcome. It took me time to figure it out because I didn't know what it was, and I tried to find a way to make sense of it. It's just, but in my head, I was like, what do I have that actually I enjoy, and what allows me to? Because I feel successful. Like that's the thing. I feel successful. So what allows me to feel? And I was like, oh, because I have control, and that's all I want.
That's it. All right, we're gonna ask one deep one, and then we're gonna start at the beginning, go through the journey. Ready?
Let's do it.
When did you officially become Anthony 2.0?
2.0. That was well, let's say there was a catalyst moment on January 1st, 2016, when I actually became him, dude. I don't know when that would be the summer of 2016. We'll work into that one. But that guy, there was a moment in time when he looked in the mirror and he legit hated who he was, didn't like the man, wasn't proud of who he was at all. And it put me down this journey of figuring that guy out. I don't know what moment in time it flipped, but at one point I could look back and go, damn, it's a different dude. And that for me it's how I'm here now. It's how I'm doing what I do now, is because at some point 2.0 came out.
I love that. And sometimes you need that moment, right? Like, I don't know if that was a rock bottom moment, but sometimes you just have to get that moment where you look yourself in the mirror and simply put, you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. I need to make some big changes to have some big changes. So I appreciate that.
Hey, welcome, man. I'll tell you about it. It was it wasn't a proud stage of life. It's crazy because it wasn't that what you would call it like a rock bottom happened years before. And I wasn't even that moment, man. I wasn't even like in dire straits. It was just this moment of, like you said, it was sick and tired of being that dude. And so at some point I just had this wave of shame that was like the catalyst to figure it out. So yeah, 2.0 was 2016.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that, brother. I think we're going to segue back into that a little bit. The audience with 250,000 downloads strong, just a few months since launch. They always love to get a feel from the beginning. So we're gonna jump around a little bit, and of course, preparation breeds confidence. So we did a ton of homework on you, and also I'm a big fan. But it's no secret that you grew up in an orphanage, right? But before that, you had a single mom, and you were the oldest of 4 kids. Is that accurate?
Oldest of 4, yeah.
Okay. And then when did you go into the orphanage, so to speak?
Yeah. So it was foster care, which I damn near wish it would have been an orphanage sometimes, but it's essentially the same thing, man. At 3 years old, when I was 3, my siblings were all like 2, 1, and newborn. My mom, pretty much was like, I don't want my kids anymore, and put us into the foster care system. And this was like 1986. And so at that time, there's no social media, there's no television, there's not much you can like really pay attention. There's no, streaming of videos and pictures. And so what is what's called a paycheck. So a paycheck says, as long as this kid don't die, we do whatever we want. So we don't got to feed them. We don't got to clothe them. They just crazy stuff. And so I was given away this situation, this world, which statistically, and I found this out probably about 5-6 years ago, but statistically in America, 75% of inmates in prisons are former foster kids.
Really?
Half of our homeless population, former foster kids, and less than 1% of us graduate college. So statistics for foster kids, the moment you're put in, dude, it goes downhill quick. And so like that was it's data, bro. It's nuts. I didn't even realize this. There's actually an organization I came to speak at called CASA out here in the West Coast. And that's where I learned it. I had no idea. But I mean, in hindsight, it does make sense from the logical standpoint of being a foster kid and knowing the journey. So I get how that becomes the journey and how it can end there so often. But it was crazy to hear those numbers and realize, like, man, it's really tough out there when you go in that world.
Yeah. Normalcy was not something you had a ton of back then.
No, none. Well, I guess you could say, his thing is, I would say we had normalcy, but not good normalcy, right? So the normalcy for me was being beaten, being starved, being like tortured in weird ways. That was my normalcy. And at 3 years old, when you're brought into it, you don't know any different. So at certain points, I'm like, oh, this is the experience of every person, right? It's what you assume it is. So yeah, there was a normalcy, but it was a sad normalcy in hindsight.
Understood. And the truth of the matter is, I can talk to you all day. I already feel a connection. I know the audience is going to fall in love with you, but we got to jump around a little bit because obviously we're wasting time. How did you get from there at that moment to kind of segue into applying yourself to the gridiron in football?
Oh, that's a good like 8-year battle, man. Nah, 9-year battle is what it was actually. So So at 6 years old, I got put into my family, which is my family now. The only black person in an all white, very poor family. So we grew up, and I make this dumb joke that I grew up poor white trash because we just grew up in craziness. And if you guys aren't seeing me, I'm a black man, by the way. And so yeah, man, I grew up in this weird environment, but at 6 years old, I was put in a family, and we grew up, I was at 8 years in that family before I got adopted. So I was always having this weird, am I going to be here tomorrow? Am I going to be taken away to a new household? But at 14, I finally got adopted, and I got to start life and go into the realm of football. Now, here's the funny and not so funny thing. At recess, I was a monster in school, man. I'd catch the balls over your head, run routes, all that kind of fun stuff. But then you put a helmet and shoulder pads on, it's a different game. Like
Really?
they're hitting you, bro. You can't, I'm not used to running around shoulder pads. And so I'm behind, like 6 years behind my peers who've been playing already, bro. They were smacking me out there. And so I start this thing I love to do with the pain of realizing I'm not good at doing it. And that's a reality we all face. At some point in time, we try something new and we realize we're not that great. And we're met with the reality of it. And we have to face this emotional fear of like, okay, do I keep doing this even though I keep sucking at it? Or do I chalk it up, make a good excuse? And to be honest, 2 years into football, I was like, I suck, I'm done with this. And I gave it up. But then the question you asked is, when did this mindset come? And it came in one summertime between my freshman and sophomore year. I had checked out. I was sleeping in class. My adoptive mom got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. I'm one of six. My older brother's off in the military, bro. I'm floating. And I'm heading down a bad path, to be quite honest. And I'm sitting in classes, two girls talking to each other, have no idea I'm listening. And one girl says something that was an amazing gift to me. And she goes, well, the reason I'm so bad is because I'm in foster care. And to be honest, at face value, it's like, what is that? It's not a big deal. But dude, here was what it was. She had spoken out loud the excuse I was making for giving up. And that hit me like real hard. It unsettled me. And I went home and I looked in this mirror that was in my bedroom. I used to brush my hair because back then I had, the waves that we dipping down. I had the waves. and I was like, I looked at myself in the pupils. I said, Anthony, you're going to be great. And it sounds real odd at 15 years old to have a kid doing that, but I remember the exact place I was standing where the sun was at. And it was a weird decision. And so all I knew to do was like, I got to do what a great football player does, even though I'm not a great football player. So I went in, man, and I did the whole, like, I would run routes. I would catch 500 footballs a day before I go to bed, no matter what. I had people making fun of me, old teammates, trucks, you're weak, you're slow, you can't catch. Why are you doing that? Right? But I kept on going. And 7 months later, I showed up the next year as a monster. I was faster, I was stronger, but dog, what the real thing was, I was mean. I was real mean. And it wasn't because of foster care. I get that question. Was it because of foster care? You know what it was? I had done too much work in the dark for you to take what was mine in the light. Period. That is my football. I don't care if they threw it to you. This is my drill. I don't care if you're bigger than me. Like, I'm going to win. Somehow I'm going to win this thing because you didn't do what I did to get here at this moment. So this is mine. Every moment's mine. And that mentality was something that seeped into every way that I flowed on the field and how I did my stuff in the classroom. And it was the big, honestly, the big precipice moment for me into what I have as my mindset now. But dude, back then it was an accidental development. It was just, I'm creating this strong football player. And I learned what you create creates you. When you create that strong body, you create the business, create the whatever, you don't just create that thing and stay the same person, man. You are developing a new human the entire time. And once you've got to that point of you've made that, you've built that, bro, you will let nothing take it away. And that's where my mind crystallized into that hard, strong thing it is.
This is unbelievable. Let me know if you know of a good surgeon, except to surgically move the smile from my face. The way you word that stuff. I mean, that's relatable to me, but really to anyone, to the audience, those of you that are putting in the work behind the scenes, grinding, hustling, pursuing your passion, your vision, whatever the case may be, when it comes out there and the world's ready to see it, like, you can't forget, all that, blood, sweat, equity that you put into that. So that really resonates with me. I love that you said that. I could just picture you as an absolute beast when you came back.
I was the skinny little kid though, man. I could still suck my stomach and put my hand on my ribs. I was a little dude. I was still like 150, but it's like the honey badger, like
150,
little itty bitty guy. But yeah, dude, I was shredded. But it was a couple years later when I finally got to college that I really built some muscle. But dude, back then it was just I didn't have the ability to not go hard, because every time you go do something, here's what I find as humans: we have this thing where we will not take less than what we deserve. Period. If I deserve that, I'm going to go get that. And I'll fight for that. If this is what I deserve, I'm fighting for that. So I had built that desire to deserve that. Here's the crazy thing about humanity, though. if you think about the logic of I'll fight for what I deserve, we will also fight for what we believe we deserve, even if it's down here. I find people who have not done the dark work, they will fight to stay small. And it doesn't look like fighting to stay small. It looks like letting somebody else get the job. It looks like backing down when challenged. It looks like making an excuse to not have to lean in, because I don't want to have this great accomplishment up here, but not believe I deserve it. Have somebody out me, have somebody say, you don't get that. And then have to have the shame and embarrassment of losing it. So people, if they haven't done that dark work to feel like they deserve that thing, they will fight for what they believe they deserve, even if it's down low.
This is great. And I knew you and I were going to vibe and connect because, like I said, I'm a fan of yours, but this is on a whole nother level. And it's so true. Like, whatever it is that you believe that you deserve, whether huge, right, and monstrous for the world to see, or not so much, I mean, you can't really surpass that. The target has to be within reach, so to speak. You can't hit a target you can't see. So all this really resonates with me. At the time in high school when this was going on, two things. Number one, that's when you met your girl, right?
Yeah, 16.
That's awesome. And then also, obviously, you got really good because you ended up getting a full ride to college for the football, correct?
Yeah. True. Yeah. A couple years later. Yeah. It's unexpected, but yeah, I got a whole bunch of scholarship offers. I ended up going to college on a scholarship later. Yeah.
Anthony, why do you say unexpected?
Because I think the interesting thing is most people go, did you always want to play in the pros? Did you always have a shot to go do that? And for me as the kid at 14, 15, my only thought was like, I want to make sure like I got a home, I feel loved, like I got food, we grew up poor. No one in my family has ever gone to college. None of my siblings, none of my cousins, none of my aunts, none of my uncles. It's not a normal thing just to even go, period. So when I say unexpected, it was not something I ever thought about until all of a sudden letters start showing up to the college, to the high school for college. And in fact, my fiance, which is my girlfriend back then, and my fiance about when I was 18, but without her, I'm not even academically eligible to play college sports. Like I started getting letters and I started dating her, and she's a 4.1 GPA, like, she's a beast. And she's like, you got to get this stuff dialed. And like, so she, bro, every night would help me with my math homework and like help me get things done and dialed in. And that's what allowed me to get academically eligible to get a scholarship to go play. So it was completely unexpected from a standpoint of eligibility, but also I didn't picture myself being a collegiate athlete. I was just like, I like playing football. It's fun. But I wasn't, my dream and goal wasn't to go higher than that. But when it became real, it's like, oh crap, this could be real. And I'm thankful I didn't self-sabotage. I'm thankful I didn't, say I don't deserve that and find ways to do dumb stuff. But no, man, I actually did lean in and did what I had to do to get myself to the next level.
And then immediately from there was the mindset, we're going from here to the NFL?
No, it wasn't until my junior year. I think my entire life, I've always been like, what's the next step? But it was never, it's not till like the next step is upon me. So I get to college and I'm like, I borderline don't know if I belong here. So I'm gonna do my thing. And I think for me, when I do things, I have this tendency if I just do them 100%. I do them at a level that I got to go more to where I don't have a regret of me not giving my all into it. So I get to college and my whole thing was like, I just want to play. Not that I want to start, not that I want to go to the league. I just want to play the game at this. I want to put a jersey on in a game and play. And so that was the first step, man. And what I did was I never redshirted. Most guys go to college, they redshirt, take a year to practice. I was like, I'm going to play. So only me and one other guy named Haloti Nada ended up playing for the but the Baltimore Ravens for a lot of years. But only me and him played our true set freshman year that year. But here's the crazy thing, bro. The next year, I had a kid at 20 years old. I met my real dad. I found my real dad, and really? I wanted to start. Like, this is where the progression in NFL even started. I wanted to start for the first time. If I'm going to meet my dad, I don't want to meet him while riding the bench, because he's going to be across the country when I go. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm a true sophomore, like second year. I'm against a fifth-year senior. This dude's been there. This is his year. This is time to shine. I was like, I want this dude's job. All I know is I want his job. It ain't about him, man. I want this damn job. And so I grinded. I went back to that same dude that was at freshman and sophomore year, man. Did it again. Come back the next year. My very first collegiate start happened on national television. We played Mississippi State. We won the game. I got a game ball, which is this game ball you see right here. And I got to meet my real dad. So like, it was amazing. And that was the moment where I kind of pursued more of the thought of, damn, I might be able to play at the NFL level. So that was the first inklings around my sophomore year.
When you think about that specific moment where you got the game ball and you met your dad, I imagine when you anchor that or you step back into that on a deep level, it's an exhilarating state.
Oh, hell yeah, man. There's nothing quite like moments in life that give you chills, you know, and you earn those. Those are things that don't just happen accidentally. So it's one thing to know it happened. It's a whole other thing when I think about that moment to know the work I did in the background to build a personal pride to where I could stand out in that field and like as a freshman, a true sophomore, like have this anger to demolish the other team. I wasn't out there half stepping like, I don't know if I belong here. It's like, no, I earned this. I was smacking dudes, man. I had this one play where I hit the running back out of the flat so hard, bro, his legs went up in the air. Like my first game out, you know?
I just
And,
got an unbelievable visual.
dude,
Respectful.
it was amazing. And that for me was like, that was what but again, I fought to deserve that. And hell yes, man, I get tingles. It's amazing feeling to have those memories and be able to relive them. That's
Yeah.
the beautiful thing. And I relive them in a sense of ownership of it. When I know I deserved it and I got it, that's the best part.
Absolutely, brother. And I love that we just touch upon this because one of the things that I always teach my clients and so forth is the concept of anchoring, modeling and anchoring, but
Yeah.
anchoring to have back into an exhilarating state from the past. Maybe you got married, had a kid, an athletic achievement, whatever the case may be. Put yourself there on a deep level, bring yourself back. Obviously,
Yeah.
your state's immediately elevated. So whatever activity you're about to step into, you're going to do so from a more elevated state. And when you were describing that day, that situation, I was like, of course, that's definitely in his arsenal to tap
Yeah.
into at any moment. That's special.
Yeah, man. I got a bunch of those weird things. I got a bunch of bad ones too, but that definitely got some good ones like that for sure.
Understood. And then sooner than later, the NFL comes. It's a relatively short-lived stint in the NFL, correct?
Yeah, third year, man. And in my third year, I tore my shoulder. Want the story around it? Because it's a good one. I guess a good one. But here's the thing: the NFL. It stands for not for long. I don't know if anybody's heard it before, but you're in, you get hurt, you get out. The actual people will say the average time frame of an athlete is 3 years, which it kind of is. But for every person that comes in and then goes to training camp and gets cut by the time the season starts, it makes it like 3 to 6 months. It's very short lived. And so that journey for me, dude, it's long. First year out, came out with the Buccaneers. Coach Gruden got cut in the final cuts. Got picked up week 13 the next year with the Washington Redskins, now the Washington football team. Was there, got cut the very next year. It was the first preseason or first season game they let me go. We had 5 injuries and I got thrown out with the trash, man. Like, damn, had to move my family home again. And then I get to this point where I'm trying to figure out how in the hell do I navigate? Do I keep playing? Do I not play? And I had this thing of like, I'm gonna keep playing. As long as I can play, I'm gonna keep playing. And this is an interesting story. I'm gonna tell you the story because this is a good one that I think people, if they listen to it, there's a lot you can grab in how this whole thing took place. So for me, I'm already on the outs. I'm like, I don't know if I'm that good. You know, nobody's picking me up. I'm sitting here since week 9 in the NFL, 2007. And I get this call. It's a weird situation. So in Tuesdays on the NFL, it's a free day. If there's no, that's when they bring guys in and do workouts. So if you don't get a call by Monday, you're not flying out for Tuesday. You just pretty much do your thing. So Tuesday, what you typically do is a really crazy hard workout, beat the body up, get ready for the next week. So Tuesday came, had no workouts. I go and kill my body in the weight room, like killed it, ran routes, all that fun stuff. And then I come back to the house, hop in a shower. Now, I don't know how it worked out timing wise, but I get out of the shower and I got like 7 missed calls. And I'm like, what were 7 missed calls? None of them look familiar. One's a 412 and all that, but one of them looks like that could be somebody. It happens to be my agent's business partner named Craig Dolan. So I call the number. Hey, Craig, is this you? He goes, yeah, it's Craig. I go, wait, what's going on, man? He goes, hey, well, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they want to fly you in for a workout. And I go, Craig, man, I just got done with a workout. My body. He goes, hey, pauses me midway, goes, do you want an effing job? I go, yeah, man, I want a job. He says, then buckle up, pack a bag. You need to get a flight ASAP. It's like at 4:00. I'm on a flight by like 9:00, SFO flying out. It's a red eye. Since it's so late, I'm stopping off in different places. My body's tired and beat up. I'm not sleeping on the plane. I land in Pennsylvania 6 a.m. It's just 3 a.m. my time. I get in the car. The guy in the car from the Steelers says, hey, listen, there's 2 of you guys out here. One of you is staying. One of you is going home. Like, damn, like in my head, I'm like, I'm going home. My body's beat. I don't even know what I'm doing. Crazy, right? So we go to get the other guy. Now, when I was in the NFL Combine in Indianapolis in 2006, I had a roommate. My roommate was a guy who was bigger than me, faster than me, stronger than me. By numbers, ran a faster 40, bench press 10 times more than me. He was 10 pounds heavier. Dude's a beast, right? Named Ternanande. So we go to the hotel. We pull up to the hotel. Out walks Ternanande. He gets in the car. You know what I'm saying? He gets in the car and he got drafted in the 5th round above me, right? So he gets in the car. A guy tells him, hey, listen, one of you staying, when he's going home. He looks in the back seat, little grin on his face. In his head, he knows he got it. Hell, in my head, I'm like, he got it. Like, this dude looks just as good as the day I saw him, right? And I'm like, damn, I'm not even at my peak. So we have to go for the next 6 hours from hospital to hospital doing all the physicals to make sure that if we get signed, we're physically able to go play.
Anthony, real quick, what position were you?
I was a linebacker, dude. LB back on the set, man. So I get to we get to the facility, and this is where, dude, this is pay attention, people, to this one. I get to the facility. In my head, I've been counting myself out. I was sleeping in the lobbies, sleeping in the hallways, the waiting rooms, the hospitals. I'm still half asleep when I get to the actual facility. And I'm sitting there in this locker room. They'd said, here is the cleats, your jersey, your shirt, get dressed, be outside in 20 minutes. And I sat down and I'm like, I might as well get in the car to go to the airport now because I got nothing. And I don't know where it came from or what the thought was that seeped in. But for some reason, my brain said, hold on, Ant. Like, of thousands of people that could be here, you're here right now. Like, you're chosen for this right here. Right? And this, I'm talking to everybody that's got a business or a job or a marriage or a situation. Like, of all the millions of people, like, you're chosen to be in that spot, even if you chose to be chosen, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm chosen. I'm here for a reason. And I thought to myself, what if I suck it up and just take everything I got and put it forth to do the absolute best I can, bro? You can't leave here with that regret. It's not who you are. So I was like, all right, I got to dig in. I dug in a little bit and I went out to the field. And I don't know what happened out there, my man. Craig, I have no idea what happened. All I know is I gave everything. I remember walking off the field. It was a blur. Looking at Turner, chest up, chin up, looked like he had it. And I'm like, this dude got the job. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go take a shower. I'm gonna get dressed, call my wife, go home, get some food, get a nap on the plane. So I get out of the shower before him, and there was standing some dude I don't know. He goes, hey, Trucks, I need you to get dressed. We're taking upstairs to sign you. Oh, man, I got the job, dude. And I was like, oh, you know what I'm saying? But it ain't done yet. Listen to this. I go upstairs. I meet Coach Mike Tomlin. I meet the GMs. I meet everybody else. They take me back downstairs. Say, hey, here's the equipment guy. Get my equipment. And I go to my locker. And I remember sitting there thinking, man, this is beautiful. I have accomplished something I didn't think was possible simply because I dug deeper than I thought I had to give at the moment. And I felt great. And I know I had this grin. I was amazed. I couldn't wait to call my wife and tell her. And the guy walks up, says, hey, here's your equipment. Get dressed. Practice starts in an hour. Full plaid practice in the NFL, dude. And I got murdered that day. Like, I got Chris Kimoyatu, big tackle, like 6'3", 270 pounds, murdered me a couple times. But I tell this story so people grasp this. You are chosen specifically for a moment, and you can't let your brain talk you out of it. Secondly, it's going to demand more of you in that moment than you ever think you can give, but you always got more to give. And third, it doesn't matter how tired you are because your dreams don't care. They want to know will you show up. And I showed up. I followed through. I got beat up a little bit, but I stuck around as part of that team until I tore my shoulder. And for me, that was the big journey of like to the end. I mean, unfortunately, less than a year later, I tore my shoulder. Season was over. Career ended up being over. And I had a whole host of crazy after that. But man, like, that was one of those moments, like you talk about going back to like an anchor point, bro, knowing that I'd got on the Pittsburgh Steelers squad in a moment when even I didn't believe I could. That was a win big time.
Thank you so much for sharing that story. First of all, you have a gift for painting an unbelievable visual, but for the audience, it's going to provide so much value. And what you just say, I need to hear that again. Your dreams don't care how tired you are.
Yeah, they don't, man.
Love that.
Yeah, everybody has these dreams and aspirations. And the thing is just because you have worked hard doesn't mean you've worked hard for what you want or worked hard enough to have what it is you want. Because it's relative. The amount of work. So if I go to a workout, you go work out, right? Or there's some people who can't get through the warm up. And then some people that the warm up is the workout. Now, if you say I want to get in great shape, but you die after the warm up, you're not going to have 6-pack abs. I'm sorry. It's just not in the cards. You have to realize that what your level of hard work is not the level of what the hard work your dream needs. And so, like, those were the realizations back then of like, I thought I'd given more than I could, but if I wanted to be in the NFL squad, I wanted to be on that roster, bro, it needed to have me realize my level of hard work, my peak was not high enough for the dream I had.
And since I pivoted from Wall Street to start my CLS brand, and also when I have this conversation with you, I'm training for the Chicago Marathon right now, and I want to do something a little weird, like shock the world at the time. Nice. And everyone always asks me, like, even my family, like, don't you ever have like balance, or don't you have boundaries, or don't you want like just a day to relax? And I never really publicly said this, but like, my thought process is I don't have time to
Mm,
take that off if I want to get to where I want to go. And
yeah,
I know I'm capable of it. And I know I'm giving this everything. And I know no one's better than me in my head, respectfully. So
yeah.
like what you're saying right now really hits home. Like even when you're tired, like when you're tired, like that's when it really starts. And they say
It
like
does.
with a marathon, like the marathon doesn't even begin until mile 20. So all this is just hitting home. I love it, brother.
Yeah, man, it's the same stuff. It's the human things that people hear, but for some reason they don't listen to it. They
Most
hear
people
it,
don't.
it doesn't settle in, man. And I think a lot of people think it's all rah rah. It's it's a lifestyle once you get going on it. Once you get
Lifestyle.
going on it, what it's weird. You probably could attest to this. It's work. Let's be honest, it's work.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, it's like this is the identity stuff I do. In the beginning, it's hard work because it's not who you are. When you start creating and doing it, it becomes so much who you are. It is harder to not do it.
Yes. Conditioning.
It is. Like for me, if I work out like 6 days a week, it is at this point my workouts suck. My trainer makes them and they're hard, but it would be harder to go to sleep having the guilt of knowing I didn't get it done,
100%.
and that's a different sense of who I am as a human, not just what I do.
Yeah, and now you change what you associate pain and pleasure to. Like now, the way I eat is I'm very disciplined with the nutrition. I'm on a meal prep. I don't have to
Yeah,
think. Every 3 hours, I pop it in, and then for dinner, sometimes I'll do my own thing. But like
yeah,
during the day, people were like, "Aren't you bored of the meal preps every day?" In my head, I'm like, "How do you eat that every day?" Like
yeah.
I have structure, and this is what works. And now, like if I'm off that routine, then I'm thrown off. So I totally
Yeah.
get it.
Well, it is. It's actually it's a neurological thing. The brain, it's funny. The brain's a predictive tool. In fact, if we want to get the most out of it, it needs consistent repetition. That's why before we work out, warming up is big. It tells the brain, hey, you're about to, get warmed up. So loosen up the joints, get the body warmed up, increase the core temperature. Synovial fluid goes to the joints. Like we're predictive. So when you're talking about the same nutrition, the brain can start triggering the body to recover properly, to turn on the brain when it needs to turn on, to get ready for a workout. And we find joy in the normalcy. We actually, humans, our efficiency is our big key thing. From a cellular level, we want efficiency. It's why when you start running, your body loses weight because it doesn't want to carry that while it's doing the running. That's why when you lift heavy weights, your body adapts by building bigger muscle because it wants to move more efficiently. So it's the same thing. Like when you start moving into a groove, your body, it desires efficiency more than desires sugar and all the craziness that may go into it. But you got to condition it that way.
You're on fire. I love this. Before you found what really, was like your life's vision, so to speak, and became aligned and doing what you're doing now and making such an impact, Anthony, there was a window after the NFL. I
Yeah.
imagine that might have been a little bit of identity crisis or like what now type of thing. And then
Yeah.
obviously the Ninja Warrior stuff. Like what was going on at that time before you got to what you're doing now?
Yeah. Well, before Ninja Warrior, that was actually I think that might have been the beginning of like the upswing, but I came home to the NFL and it's like a massive identity crisis.
Yeah.
Who was Anthony without football? And it's interesting. I tell people, so like it went to me losing my family. My wife had an affair. Like, I wasn't a present father. I was at this gym from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., neglecting everybody and everything because I want to find that sense of identity again in something new because I'd lost it in football. And I found myself divorced. I found myself with my kids, every other weekend when they were with me. I was in a 500 square foot studio apartment with them sleeping on an air mattress next to my bed. And this is post NFL. There's no NFL money. It's gone, right? It's I got this gym business that's every 2 weeks I'm stressing out, hoping I don't go bankrupt. Like it was the pits, man. And then at one point in 2014, my mom, she unfortunately passed from multiple sclerosis. And it was a real huge wake up call because I was in the bottoms, bro. At one point, I wanted to take my life. I'm like, if this is life after the game, bro, I am good. I don't want any more of this because I've already had my highs. And all these things, they come to pass because of one moment that I didn't really even realize what it was. But like football was the fruit of my labor. And whenever we've built something, we spent time in something for so long. I'm sure with you in Wall Street, whenever you build this thing, it's like it's the fruit of your labor. And at some point in time, whether by choice you chose to leave or by chance, I got an injury pulled out. You send a kid to college, you lose your job, you choose to open a business, whatever it is. You wake up one day and you're no longer doing that thing you did. And no matter when it happens or how, you are met with the fact the apple just fell off the tree. And it can last for a bit, right? The apple can hang for a bit. It can go to the store. It can go to your house. You can eat it. But at some point, untouched, the apple will rot. And we feel that. Like, so I felt that. And I never realized until like probably 2016, like I talked about, that we have never been the fruit. We have always been the tree. And for me, I'd lost sight of the tree. When you do that, you lose sight of the rest of the fruit. So when football left, I wasn't a good husband. I didn't take care of the fruit. I wasn't a good dad. I didn't take care of the fruit. The business failed. My health failed. And in that like years of fog, man, I finally went back and said, damn, man, I didn't take care of the tree. If I go back and take care of the tree that created football, that created the marriage, that created the kids, I could actually get some things back and better. And so I went back, man. And that was where that kind of moment in 2016 took place. To be quite honest, when I finally realized the tree was, I woke up January 1st, 2016, and I had been divorced. I got this real big $250,000 contract. So I had some good money. I was traveling, doing some speaking stuff. And I woke up next to this woman who had flown out from Russia. And it was like, you'd think it was this, like playboy partying up, doing my thing. And bro, it was weird because on paper, I was living it. I had money in the bank. I had foreign women coming out, but I woke up, dude, and I went to the bathroom and I looked in the mirror like I did at 15. And it was a completely different experience. I hated the dude. Like I would never want my daughter to be with this guy ever, like to be with a man like me. I would never let my sons be like this guy. My mom wouldn't approve, and God ain't let me into heaven like this. I was running around doing dumb stuff. And it was this wave of like bottom belly shame. And that was the moment I was like, dude, something's got to give. And I started realizing I needed to take care of it. To be honest, the first part of the tree was like, I had to realize I was the common denominator in all my problems. Dude, that one hit. When I was like, man, I'm part of the problem with how marriage fell apart, part of the problem with how, my parenting was bad. I'd be making excuses, but I finally was like, And so I cut everybody off. I talked to no women. I sat at the house by myself. I stared at walls and asked questions I didn't want to have answers to. And eventually got to the point of figuring out, like, I got to take care of the tree. And then when I did, dude, I gave it better nutrients. I put it in better soil and environment. I read the right books. I had the right people. I took care of the body, and it started building that same kind of thing I did my sophomore year in high school, sophomore year of college. This was my sophomore season of life. I'd come out as a freshman doing this gym thing. It all fell apart. It's time to get back on track. And so a sophomore season of life, I'm kind of in now, man. I'm in that sophomore going to junior. I'm getting there. But it all goes back to like, yeah, I had that really dark bottom, bro. And if I don't at some point realize that I am not football, I am the tree that created that, dude, that if I didn't realize that, I'd still be in a funk right now. But at this point, man, I've created sweeter and vastly more abundant fruit than I ever could have while playing in the NFL.
Yeah. And then you made a major shift.
Big time, dude. Big time. And it's what led to this. I mean, because at that point, here's the crazy thing. My wife and I, my ex-wife, we got divorced, and we did the whole thing where like we hate each other. I'm gonna tell you something I don't tell many people in any podcast. In the middle of all of our midst, there was a point in time when I shot another man in his leg with my gun. Yeah, it's weird. I'm not gonna go deep into it, but let's just say it was a weird situation. We got through some crazy because I am a human being, and it was completely legal. It wasn't anything. Dude came to my house drunk, weird stuff. And but we went to the muck of it, dude. So like realized those two people at such an odds that it was her ex-boyfriend, by the way. Weird stuff. And it got to the point where like in this window, like I found myself at the same time she was doing work on herself, unbeknownst to me. And at the end of summertime of 2016, she's like, hey, I want to get our kids out of this crazy town, a small town. Can you mind taking a vacation? We're not together. Just want to get the kids out of here. I know you can't be away from them. I was like, well, my business runs online. Let's go do that. Go to Costa Rica. And I don't know how to explain this except for this. I got to meet someone for the first time that I'd known for 16 years. Different human, different soul, different perspective. We had some of the deepest conversations that had nothing to do with getting back together, just two human conversations. We were kids at 16 when we got together. Then we had kids. And then life happened fast. The NFL, like, dude, it was a ticking time bomb damn near. We had no structure, no parental aspects of understanding how to navigate relationships. We were just winging it. And then some roundabout way, we came back from Costa Rica and like, let's try it. And we tried again. And we're now almost actually in October of this year, will be 5 years deep into a remarriage that is beautiful. I love my life with my wife. It's so deep and so cool. But Ninja Warrior, when we came back, she signed me up on it without telling me. She filled something out. We got back October 2016. She saw something online, fills out the application, has me film some video at the gym. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm filming videos. And then I get a call in February, about 3-4 months later. They go, hey, you're about to be on TV in 30 days for the show called American Ninja Warrior. And I'm 6'1", 240 pounds at the time. I'm like, how am I supposed to hang by my hands? These dudes are like 5'6".
That's big for you,
rock climbers. Right? Oh, I'm huge. I'm not supposed to be that big. And most of the guys that do the show, they're not even over 180 pounds.
Yeah.
So I'm 60 pounds heavier than the heaviest guy. So I'm like, that's not supposed to be. But lo and behold, man, I go down to the show And based on the way that I operate, the way my mind works and how we showed up, bro, a month later, I ended up coming in and I'm the first former NFL athlete to hit a buzzer on the show now. So it's been a damn cool ride, bro. It's not done. I still do a bunch of cool stuff. Shoot,
Oh, you just
later
get
this
warmed
year,
up, Anthony.
just getting climbed up, man. Sophomore season, bro. We're getting rolling.
I love this. And thank you for sharing that story. And it's really beautiful in regards to the wife and all of that. One thing that I think that you said, correct me if I'm wrong, and this really was beautiful and hit my soul when I was reading it, when I was in my preparation for you. People say change is hard. True and authentic transformation isn't hard. It's painful.
Mm-hmm.
Did you say
Yeah.
that?
I don't know. I say a lot of things.
Yeah.
I
It sounds
I
like
want
your work.
that
Either
in.
way, it's great.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I agree with it. If I didn't say it, I agree with it. Because I mean, at the end of the day, pain does. You have to have pain to grow a muscle. You know,
Yeah.
like that's how you build. You have to have pain to build pride. You have to build pain. It's all part of it. And I think at the end of the day, is people are afraid of hard. I don't know why. And people are afraid of pain, and I don't know why. I get that it hurts for a little bit, but at a certain point, like that's how you gain the strength to live an amazing, beautiful, joyous life. And I think nowadays we're in a situation societally where everybody is trying to find ways to appease the weak. And I just don't do it. I'm not built to appease the weak. I would much rather have you elevate than for me to I pretty much decline or to diminish what I see as something that's beautiful and joyous. Because nobody that I know that is incredibly joyous, I'm talking, and you know, probably the most warm, well-rounded, settled people you know, they embrace the suck. They know how to work. The only people I know that are unhappy in life are the ones that don't know how to work. It's to a man and to a woman. Those who can work, bro, they know that it's like, hey, it's a matter of just, I got to put some work in and figure out how to get past this. And they do. But those who are always the victim mentality, the ones that have less than, the ones that make excuses, the haters, the trolls, they're people that just are too weak and don't know how to work.
Yeah. I love all this, brother. This is deep and it's great. And I feel like just like you, myself, you associate pain with pleasure. In other
Yeah.
words, if you know something is going to be really tough and it's going to be challenging, you kind of get off on that because you
I
know
do.
on the other side is growth.
Yeah, man. That's how my workouts are every day. My trainer sends me workouts that I look at, and my head, I'm like, that sucks. But part of me is like excited to get to the gym and do it. It's weird,
Yeah.
very
Like
weird, but it's fun.
when the world opened up and the marathons are back and I was signed up for Chicago, in my head, I was like, oh my God. And if I really want to shock the world, you beat the shit out of yourself training for these things.
Yeah. Hmm.
But I would have it no other way.
Yeah, dude. If you're gonna do it 100%, man. There's too much behind this, and the thing it's hard to put into words what the outcome feeling is. It's just for people that don't know what it's like. It's hard to like verbalize it in a way to make them
It is.
desire it.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, man, anybody that when you do something that is very hard for something great, the great is always sweeter than you can imagine. Always. The feeling of the outcome is you can try to think of it, but the moment you feel it, bro, it's a wave that you're like, damn, I can't describe this.
That's terrific. With what you're doing now, obviously you're living in your vision, you're aligned. I know in the beginning, it took some time to get it going. You were kind of modeling it and seeing what other people in this space were up to. And then you realized this secret sauce is in fact you. But just take a step back before that. What made you want to get into this? How did you know this is what's next for my next act, so to speak?
Oh man, I didn't know. I was doing the gym thing, consulting thing. I had made a promise to my mom before she passed, like an hour before she passed, that I was going to get my life together. And when I did, I would unconditionally love in the world the way she did for me. And I didn't know what that looked like. That was April of 2016. And just so happens that June of 2016, like around June, I ended up happening into this event called Experts Academy with a guy named Brendan Burchard. And it was the first time I'd seen this world. I had no idea it existed. I didn't know Tony Robbins. I didn't none of this. It was just like, so I'm in this room and I'm hearing like, you can take your story and make an impact with it. I'm like, blasphemy, really? And you start uncovering what it all is. And so little by little, I started leaning into the world I did a video a day for 1,333 days without missing, 3.65 years, because I wanted to learn how to talk and share ideas and share stories and flow. I wanted to be consistent. Like I wanted to build something. And dude, little by little, I started entering in and eventually I started volunteering for his events, got to know him, became a partner with him, started speaking on his stage. Shoot, at the end of this year, I'm gonna be sharing the stage with Tony Robbins. Like it's a whole different world that I've built myself into. And that was the intro. To be quite honest, I started this thing like, what if I can take all this craziness of my life and make sense of it in some way. And the best way I knew was to share, like we started this podcast. My story is not my story, it's my experience. And I believe, as a man of faith, that I believe God gave me all these crazy hardships because he gave me the strength to overcome them and the mentality to. But I was also given a gift of, like, now that you did it, you got something to talk about. So go talk about it. And so I do. And that's all this stuff, man. It doesn't always benefit me. Me sitting here talking about it doesn't fully benefit me, you know what I mean? But I get the warmth of one big thing. When I came into this world, my mom didn't love me. She didn't want me. She gave me away. I came in solo, but I will not leave this world alone. And the way that I make sure it doesn't happen is by coming on and sharing a story, giving it away as a gift. So that at some point when I'm taken back home, people go, damn, that was a good dude. I love what he did for people. So I'm not leaving alone.
Yeah, and it's 100% working. I can guarantee that. My audience is going to be obsessed with you in 2 seconds in case they didn't know you. We love all of this, brother. And I'm so happy that you stepped into this and you finally found it. And it's true. It's like maybe every story doesn't necessarily benefit you, but you're causing a ripple effect because someone's going to hear this and say, I've been through something similar. Look what he's up to. Maybe I can turn it around too. And that's really what it's all about. When did you
That's it.
first start getting into the space? Was that after 2016?
Yeah, 2014 I started, but I didn't have what I needed inside till 2016 when I really got myself on track. I started telling the story, but the story was still being formulated. And I believe you shouldn't start telling people how to run the race until you've crossed the finish line. Like, you can go do your thing and follow people, but you got to cross a line to be able to go back and say, hey guys, this is how you do it. So it's about 2016, I really doubled down and have built something special out of it. Because I now know what I'm teaching. Yeah, just little stuff, dude. It's come to be cool, and it's fun. It's a blast. And I have people that make more money because they understand how to navigate themselves. They fix their marriages. They get in better shape.
That's what it's all about. It's the inner experience creates everything else.
100%, dude. It starts with, we all have an identity, and that's what I work on, is the identity. And when you understand how much it runs your life, but you aren't running it, it's crazy. And so when you want to level up, it's not always like, what do I do? It's who do you become? So the things you do become normalcy to do.
Yeah, love it. What's the vision from here on out? Where are you taking this thing? And just for the record, myself, nobody would bet against you. And don't be humble for a second. Tell us where this thing's going.
Oh, yeah. Well, the biggest thing is I want to be and will be the category king for identity, which means when you think about identity or shift, you'll think of Anthony Trucks. And I don't do that for the look at me thing, but it's like, if I'm going to really move people to this thing, someone has to lead it. And I feel very confident in the way that I live my life in the dark. So it comes to the light in a positive way. And I'm passionate about it, man. I've seen it happen in so many lives. So, like, it'll be built in that capacity. What it'll look like is I'll still do talking. I'll hop on stages, bro. I love stages, man. I run around, teach things, but I also have a background that allows me to coach. So I have full methods and processes called the shift method that walks people through this. So I'll have the arm of what we do personally. Like, my company will always coach people. I'll eventually coach the coaches more. We'll have people that get certified to use the method for their own business. They want to kind of go into the same world and take their story and teach people how to make a shift. And then also we have a corporate arm that allows us to go into corporations and have our coaches be applied to their groups to get the same outcome, to elevate their people so they can upgrade everything they do. So that is the encompassing thing of the brand of what we do with that. And then at some point, I want to be an actor, man. No idea why, but I want to go try my hand at being on a screen. I don't care if it's a C movie, dude. Just to be like, look at, Banana Man #2, like, just to play around. But I want to keep living life, man. I think it's the big thing, is I want to keep living life. Because if I'm going to talk about making shift happen, I've got to be the guy doing it. It's not just running it, but it's doing it as a pure example. It's why I wrote the book that comes out in August, it's the encapsulation of this process. So it's an actual step-by-step of how to do it.
Tangible. Can people pre-order it now or not yet?
Yeah, if you go to identityshiftbook.com, you can get, you just order the book. It's a process. If you go get the book on Amazon, come back, bring the receipt, and bring this code I'm going to give you, which the code is CLS, pretty simple, right? Bring the code back. And then what ends up happening is you'll get, the first 10 people get an autographed copy from me. From my home, I will literally sign this thing and send it right to your house. And then I give the audiobook for free, a digital book for free, as well as a workbook. So it's kind of like my coaching synthesized down with the best modules that apply to the book, so people can start doing what I'm talking about right now.
You dig. And for the audience listening, they're so loyal and engaging. I'm very deliberate with who we collaborate with. Should you check out what Anthony has going on? Yeah, absolutely. He's on fire. He knows his stuff. And most importantly, just like he said, you're getting suggestions and the wisdom from someone who's crossed the finish line, who's been in the trenches. And that's what it's all about. It's so relatable. in case the audience lives under a rock and they're not familiar, where can they keep up with you? Where can they find you? Where can they support you? Where do you hang out the most?
Yeah, man. I paint the most personally on Instagram. So at Anthony Trucks on Instagram. You can go to Facebook, YouTube. If you go search Anthony Trucks, I'm the only one besides my oldest son with the same name. So you can't miss me.
And just for the record, I want to put this out here right now. You will 100% in some fashion be an actor. Number one, I'm going to hold you accountable. But number two, like I said earlier, nobody would bet against you, buddy.
I appreciate it, dude. Seriously, dude. And I'd actually say it's like a passion, fun project that I have no idea why it lights me up, but I got to build this foundation, do my heart's work before I have the fun work take place. But it's all fun, to be honest.
Yeah. Real quickly, I just have to ask you the last question. Did you always have this personality, like more extroverted, or did you kind of cultivate this and develop this in your last season, so to speak?
I think I've always been the class clown. I always talked a lot. And when I was in sixth grade, I was the homecoming. I was a homecoming king, actually. But in sixth grade, I was the class president, man. I've always been a talker, but turning it into something of value was a complete different thing that took place later. But I mean, my degree's in kinesiology, but it pretty much is in communications, what I do now. It's a vastly different world, but I've always been a talker, yeah.
Got it. I had to ask you that. Listen, brother, like I said earlier, I could talk to you all day. This is unbelievable. Such a valuable conversation for the audience. I just want to say that you don't shy away from your challenges. They shaped you. It's something I find very relatable and liberating. You are the definition of resilience, grit, and heart, from overcoming adversity at an early age and growing up in foster care to making your way into the NFL, to following your purpose and creating a global shift and impacting millions of lives. I could personally guarantee your best is yet to come. You're someone I admire, I appreciate, and I respect very much. Keep on being a beacon of hope, faith, and transformation. And like I said earlier, this will absolutely not be the last time you collaborate. I can't wait to continue to watch you fly, brother.
Thank you, man. Same to you, bro. I love your work. I love the energy you come on with, bro. You get me all fired up. Watch your Instagram too. So, hey, the love is mutual.
Love it. Thank you so much, buddy. We'll talk soon.
All right.
Take care, Anthony.